We're back. We're the Tri-State Sports guys. It's time for the top 10 list.
Great top 10 list.
Yeah, it seems to be that this, we talk about a lot of different sports. This seems to be the thing that people care the most about, which is great. Yeah. Whatever keeps it coming back,
people
guys.
Love lists.
Keep writing it on the message board. Keep emailing us. Keep getting in touch with us because this is what makes it go. This is for the fans, and hopefully you guys all love this list. This one came from Tommy in Norwalk, and he had just watched the movie The Fighter with Marky Mark. And he was remarking. Tommy apparently is a big movie buff, and he was remarking how great an athlete, Mark Wahlberg was, and how he had really trained for it. So his question to us was, who do you think the top 10 fictional athletes in sports were, in the movies were? And here is his list. And I'm going to start number 10. Number 10 is Henry Rowengartner, the guy from Rookie of the Year.
Right.
And what he liked about him, and he's also on my list, by the way, is that here's a kid who was really not that good. Got an injury, started throwing 100 miles an hour,
and
then got injured again during the playoff run for the Cubs. The weight of the world is on him. The Cubs never got to the playoffs. And then he had to use his mother's famous pitcher, the floater.
He did.
And if you remember his mom saying, float it. And then when he ran out of gas, what did he do? He started picking guys off first base, and he ended a huge inning with a hidden ball trick. So that's why he voted him number 10. Number 9 is my personal favorite on his list. I don't know why this guy's not higher. Is Darius Bannock. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
That is the pusher from Cool Runnings, the bobsled team.
That's right.
Now, what he wanted to point out was that this guy, before he got to the bobsledding team, was an Olympic runner.
Yeah, sure
and
was.
He's from Jamaica, and they never played the sport. They didn't have ice in Jamaica, and here this guy was in an Olympic event. Now, I would argue this guy's ranked higher, but he's probably not so high because he didn't win a medal. Number 80 is Spike Hammersmith from Little Giants. He was one of the little kids on the team. His dad was all over him, made him do 100 pull-ups.
He's on the Cowboys.
Yeah, you and I couldn't do 100 pull-ups. I mean, I know I couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're on P90X. This guy was doing P90X before anyone knew what P90X was. Number 70 is Cal Naughton Jr. That was Ricky Bobby's.
Oh, I know.
Really, his running mate. He was baked to shake and bake.
And that's it. He's a magic man.
Yeah. Now the thing about that was, Ricky Bobby, he was the star of the show, but he only won 2 races. He got hurt. He went crazy. Cal Naughton came in there and started winning all sorts of races. He even took his wife.
He did.
Took his wife.
Right.
Now, I don't know if this guy belongs to this only because I'm not sure that's a true athlete that he's racing a car. But,
okay.
We'll give it to him. Dottie Henson, the first female member, League of Their Own. She was the catcher, Gina Davis. Rosie O'Donnell threw the ball. She caught it with her bare hand. She had her little sister on the field.
She caught a ball behind her back once.
Yeah, the thing that Tommy said in this, which I don't even know how we can get into this, was he argues that Gina Davis' husband was away in a war. He thinks that she was playing and she was so good that she secretly was in love with Tom Hanks. Now, I don't know if that's true, but
Jimmy Dugan. He had the clap, though. I don't think you want to mess with
Jimmy
Dugan.
You agree with that, Tommy?
I agree with that all the way.
Tommy it wasn't even a question to him. He was 100% sure of it, which I don't understand.
I agree.
His next one is Ernie McCracken from Kingpin. He's basically called this guy the Tiger Woods of bowling. And he was everything, and he thinks it was Bill Murray's best performance in any movie he's ever done.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 4, Rod Tidwell. In Tommy's words, and I agree with this, he was T.O., Randy Moss, Ocho Cinco, before any of those guys even stepped on a field.
Yeah, he probably had a terrible impact
but the
on the
difference
NFL.
was, he really did. The difference was he had a softer side. Yeah. And he loved
his boo.
He loved his girl. He wanted to do anything for her, and he just wanted people to show him the money. Number 3, Billy Hoyle, White Man Can't Jump. Great movie. He gives more credit to him than Wesley Snipes, who played his teammate, because here's a white guy who's 30 years old, and he has to go into South Central L.A., and he's hustling. People are bringing guns out to fight him. Rosie O'Donnell, all she's trying to do is get on Jeopardy, and here this guy's just trying to hit jumpers in big spots.
And he did it.
Number 2, also on my list, Rick Vaughn from Major League. This was Tommy's idol growing up. He says he related to him a lot. This guy came from the California Penal League. A lot of guys don't come out of the California Penal League.
No.
Maybe Mike Vick has, but other than him, not many people. And he threw 100 miles an hour in big spots. He got the big Yankees out. All the credit in the world to him. And number 1, Randy the Ram Robinson from The Wrestler. This wasn't so much for his athletic ability as Tommy just felt this really was the first movie he could ever watch a wrestler and be like, that guy really did belong in a WWE.
Right.
And, the guy was taking steroids at the age of 50 or whatever he was.
Yep.
Incredible wrestler.
Yep.
How many of those did you have?
The only one I had was Billy Hoyle.
Wow.
He was the only one I had, well, what I did was I just threw a bunch of stuff off against the wall. I put down like 25 people. Ricky Vaughn was in mine. A couple others were in mine. What I did though is I didn't count any actual people. So I didn't count Rudy Rudiger, which is why I didn't put Dottie Henson in. I didn't put anyone that was a real sports figure because I'm thinking these all got to be fictional.
Why don't you go ahead?
All right, I'm gonna go. Now he mentioned Little Giants. I got Icebox in mind because anybody who knows a good female athlete calls her Icebox. You know, I mean, how many Iceboxes? Everyone listening's got a friend that they say, "Oh, that's my Icebox right there." You want her in a pitch.
No question.
Number 9, I had Ricky Bobby. I put Ricky Bobby. He won more than 2 races. He went on a nice little run. He was a stud. I mean, he was.
But is he an athlete?
Well, it's a sports movie. If you look it up on Netflix, it comes in as a sports movie. So I don't know. That's a different debate as to whether you count a race car driver as an athlete.
Ricky Bobby, Cale Naughton, Jordan Pippen.
I almost put Cole Trickle in.
Jordan Pippen. Cole Trickle's another great one.
He was on my 25.
Yeah.
My number 8 is kind of a stretch here. I went with Can't Get Right from Life. The guy, you couldn't pitch him anywhere. He just hit balls into the trees. I actually named my cat, and you know this. I named my cat Can't Get Right.
Tony D is hyperventilating, by the way. He clearly...
That is great. Can't Get Right. Where were you going to pitch Can't Get Right? You couldn't pitch to him.
Nope.
And he got out of jail early because he could hit a baseball.
Yeah.
I love Can't Get Right.
Which is everything that's wrong with the penal system.
Right. Willie Mays Hayes was 7 for me. Again, Major League growing up for me was my favorite movie, so I could have picked any one of those characters. Could have made my top 10.
I have Willie Mays Hayes. One stat I want to throw out about. He had 100 stolen bases, and he was the epitome of an athlete. He had 100 stolen bases, and now Wesley Snipes is in jail for tax evasion. Exactly what an athlete would have been.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. 6 was Billy Hoyle. 5 was Happy Gilmore. Now, Happy Gilmore is this goofy movie, but what made me put him in there is how many times, if you're ever at the driving range, do you see some 20-year-old jerk doing his Billy, oh, look at my Billy Madison. They run up to the ball and hit it. And he's
Happy Gilmore.
It's Happy Gilmore, yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, he basically has now ruined the movie of those stupid kids. But he has to, yeah.
He could swing it.
He could crush it, man. Number 4 was Rocky. Now, I was going to leave him off because it was everyone says Rocky, but that's a movie if it's on. I watch it every time. It was, just a great sports movie.
My thing about Rocky was he always was getting beat up.
Toughest guy, as tough as nails.
He was tough, but was he that good if he just getting
never,
beat up?
People landed 100% of their punches against Rocky Balboa.
That's the thing.
Which Rocky's your favorite one?
You know, I'd say number 1 is my favorite one. That recent one, Rocky Balboa, was great. I put that up second, honest to God. The only one that was bad was 5. I think all the rest of them were good.
How good a boxer can you be if you don't
wins and losses, bro? My
man
won some fights.
That's true.
Number 3, Squints Palladores.
Oh my.
Now that movie, Sandlot to me probably is my favorite sports movie.
It's up there.
And Squints is that guy who, clearly was not a great athlete, loved baseball more than anything. He was tough as nails. I just love Squints Palladores. Number 2, my 3, 2, and 1 are all baseball. Number 2, Crash Davis. Another movie, you watch it over and over. He was the quintessential minor leaguer. He was a guy who just loved baseball. Everybody can kind of relate to Crash Davis. He was just hanging on to his dream.
I had Crash Davis,
right.
And maybe I'm too cynical. I crossed him off because he was only in the minor leagues. Now, does that make me a bad person?
It kind of does make you a terrible person.
I thought it may.
Now, my number 1, I don't know if you're going to have this on your list, Tanner Boyle from Bad News Bears.
Tanner Boyle.
Now, that guy, anybody who doesn't love Tanner Boyle never played sports. Because he is the guy, he is that little fired up kid. We all got friends that are Tanner Boyles out there and just got that Napoleon complex, wanted to fight the world, just wanted to play baseball, scrap it out. I mean, I love Tanner Boyle. I love that movie, and he made the movie, to me.
I don't have Tanner Boyle on my list. If there was any one Major League player who was Tanner Boyle, it's Lenny Dykstra.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be Lenny Dykstra.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Tanner Boyle was I don't think he was that good a player, but that's fine. So that's your 10.
Those are my 10.
That's a very good 10. You and I had very little overlap.
Good.
Number 10, I also was in the Sandlot. I had Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Yeah.
What I love about him was he was a great athlete, but he wasn't one of those athletes that you see in the Little League World Series that is good at like the age of 10 and is never good again. He wound up in the major leagues. He wound up in Dodger Stadium.
He had a great mustache,
And for that, now he was only a pinch runner.
But that was at the end of his career.
So that's why I only made him number 10. But he, great career.
I wish I could. They should make a movie just about his major league
I don't want to take anything away from him. Number 9 on my list was Danny La Russa. I can't believe neither you or Tommy had him. Here's a guy who was from the East Coast, went with his mom in a big station wagon to California.
Yep.
Went into Cobra Kai territory.
Yep.
He went into a Halloween party dressed as a shower, which is unbelievable. He was getting beat up. His only friend was Mr. Miyagi, and then they tried to sweep the leg. They tried to put him in a body bag at the end. Remember, they didn't even think he was going to fight, and the MC was going, Danny LaRusso's going to fight?
Yeah.
And all he did was come away with the crane kick and the trophy.
That's what makes this list so great. I had not even thought of Danny LaRusso, and had I thought of him, he'd been my top 5.
Number 8, and I'm not sure I should put him on here, but this is my favorite sports movie, Roy Hobbs. Mm-hmm. He's very short career. He's like he's like the Gale Sayers of mythical athletes.
Bo Jackson.
The problem, as a young 20-year-old, he was unbelievable. He struck out the fictional Babe Ruth near the train station. He then came back as an outfielder, and he was unbelievable. He was 35 years of age. He's bleeding in his spleen. He's about to die. And what does he do? He hits him off the lights.
Yeah, he does.
And to this day, that music is played when Josh Hamilton hits a home run.
That's right. Ta-da!
Number 7, Jimmy Chitwood from Hoosiers. Mm-hmm. I read a stat online that in the whole movie, he missed 2 shots. And one of them he missed purposely. And in the final huddle, he just said to the coach has drawn up some crazy play. He said, I'll make it. This is the guy, you see Scottie Pippen doesn't want the ball, doesn't want to come out after a timeout. This is the guy that wanted the ball, took his small Indiana high school into the Indianapolis, dome, and basically carried the team on his shoulders to a title. I had Willie Mays Hayes and Rick Vaughn. Number 4, if you're going to name Tanner Boyle, how can you not name Kelly Leak? This guy, was easily...
He drove a Harley. He was like 12 years old.
He drove a Harley. He was easily the greatest Little League player I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. The thing about him, which I loved the most, was he smoked. Imagine how good... He was like Mickey Mantle. You know how all these old Yankee players, and your father and my father talk about how good would Mickey Mantle have been if he didn't drink. How good would Kelly Leak have been if he didn't smoke, if he didn't ride a motorcycle,
unlimited ceiling.
if he just went to school once in a while? The other thing about Kelly Leak is that they name him, if you ever play baseball, he played every position in the outfield. He would just call everyone off. And now to this day, when someone does that, they call him Kelly Leak. Yep. That's how good he was.
Yep.
Number 3, Bobby Boucher, the water boy.
Yep. He was in my 25.
This guy was averaging 15 sacks a game.
Yep.
He didn't know what he was doing, and he had a 3rd grade education.
Guy had instincts.
Yeah. Number 2, as I told you, I had Tommy's Henry Roddigan. Number 1, I don't see how anyone could argue this. The greatest athlete is Steve Nebraska from the Scout. I'm just going to give you a box score from his major league debut, which, by the way, was in Game 1 of the World Series. 81 pitches. 81 pitches.
Yeah.
It was a complete game. 27 strikeouts. That means all he did was strike everyone out on 3 pitches. 2 home runs in his major league debut. Yeah. Now, the problem with him, it's a really sad story. We should probably get into it in another segment. Was that he went crazy. He wasn't ready for that. Brandon Frazier wasn't ready for that type of, he was in Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. So it was a very short career.
Right.
But how can anyone argue he was...
Because I wouldn't put Brandon Frazier in a top list of anything.
No, absolutely not.
But I just look at him as Stevie Nebraska.
All right, tell him we missed any?
Well,
any of our picks piss you off at all?
No.
All right.
Well, yeah, you know what? A little bit. The Cool Runnings pick, because that's not fictional. That's a real bobsled team. So
Before Tony continues, I want to say that as I was reading the Cool Runnings, Tony held up a sign screaming, "Not fictional." He was annoyed that Tommy put that in there.
I had a couple too today.
I like it, Tommy. Keep it coming. Go ahead. Who else you got, Tom?
Real quick, I'll go down the list. I got number 10, Dottie Hinson.
Yep.
League of Their Own. 9, I have Roy Munson.
Yep.
Because, he was a hustler, but made one bad move, he lost a hand. I mean, what can you do? Number 8, which nobody had, is Lincoln Hawk.
Who's that?
He is from Over the Top.
That's going to be a sport. I guess you got to put him in there.
Sylvester Stallone. Come on, Over the Top. All right? So, I got Rick Vaughn.
Yep.
Number 7. Got the Karate Kid, number 6. Cole Trickle, 5.
Nice.
I mean, I don't care what you say.
Rubbin's Racing.
Driving a race car is a sport.
Rubbin's Racing. I don't know if it is, but Rubbin's Racing, that's for sure.
Number 4, Happy Gilmore. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Clubber Lang. Just like you said, he's got to beat the hell out of Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
3, I mean, the guy he was a beast. Number 2, Benny the Jet. Number 1, Billy Hoyle.
Billy Hoyle made everyone's list.
I mean,
now, Billy Hoyle made everyone's list, but I would have to say Adam Sandler is probably the greatest athlete since he's up here for multiple people.
And one more just to throw in honorable mention, Steve Latimer from The Program.
Yes,
he was my 10 and I crossed him off.
I have one quick honorable mention because he was in a movie. AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. He was Bo Jackson before. Bo Jackson played about 17 sports.
I asked my wife if I should do it. She said it doesn't count. I said, all right. So I
think
left
it does.
AC Slater. It's on my list, too.
We're the sports guys. We'll be right back.